This winter, we talked about winter burn on our boxwoods. And as you can see, now we're in May and we're well past the freeze, but we definitely have suffered some damage from those freezing temperatures on our boxwoods. So we're going to talk about what we do at this point. I know a lot of people have had some of their broadleaf evergreens and even their arborvitae suffering. And we're particularly seeing that a lot of that is just because of a couple of years ago when we had the ice storm and then we had the heavy freeze, and then we've been suffering through some drought conditions. And so it's sort of been the knockout punch on a lot of our evergreens. But today with these boxwoods, there is still hope with them. You can see that there is still green. And so basically we're going to go in and sort of select out and prune out the dead vegetation. Now you can do this in a couple of ways. For something that's smaller like this, I'm just going to use hand pruners and go through and really take out some of the dead stuff. If you have larger boxwoods, you can use some power trimmers or shears and really kind of take off some of that dead that might be on the exterior. Now, usually with winter freeze, what you're going to see is that the outside that maybe has been exposed to those colder temperatures is what you're seeing that has been damaged. And a lot of times you'll see still some maybe even orange foliage to it. But if you look down in the crown of that plant, you're going to see that there is still green down in there. And a lot of times you'll have a lot of green shoots that are starting to come on at this point. So the main focus is not necessarily about trying to create a nice boxwood hedge here. They're still very young. And so what we're more concerned about is getting out the dead so that we can then allow that new fresh vegetation to continue to photosynthesize and actually help support those roots as it goes through this season. So I'm just going to take my hand pruners and be very selective and work on this since it's a small area. But like I said, if you had a big area, you could use power tools as well. So now that we've got it all pruned back, you can see we've kind of got sort of a wild hair boxwood hedge going, which is fine because again, I'm not worried about making it a clipped hedge too much right now. I just want to get it growing. And because we waited later in the season, we've already got some new vegetation coming on. So this, for example, we could have probably cut this back if we wanted more of a uniform look, and it's going to grow out. The other thing is when we were going through here clipping, you can kind of see that in some areas it might look dead down below, but it actually has a lot of green growth above it. So you're still going to see some of that dead leaves in there, which is fine. It's going to, again, grow out and cover that up over time. So again, we're just trying to get this hedge established and get it kind of rejuvenated for the season. Now, the other thing what you want to do to sort of rejuvenate it right now is early before the heat of the summer is to go ahead and put down a little fertilizer. Again, you might base this off of a fertilizer or a soil analysis as to what fertility you have with your soil. But we're just using a tree and shrub fertilizer. You might look for something that has a little bit of iron or sulfur in it to kind of help with that green vegetation. And we're just going to sprinkle this and kind of side dress around our boxwoods a little bit. Now, the thing is you don't necessarily want to use those tree or shrub spikes because boxwoods have shallow roots. And so the fertilizer can actually burn those roots. So we are just literally kind of dressing this around on top of the mulch, and then we'll irrigate it to allow it to soak in. And after we fertilize and water these, we'll, continue to monitor and make sure that if we are going through more of a drought condition, we do get water on our boxwoods here. But other than that, they don't really need any maintenance going through the summer. You might again fertilize late in the fall, not to encourage growth, but after they've kind of shut down for the season and we've had sort of that frost, it'll help with that root development as it continues through those winter months. But other than that, they're a pretty low maintenance plant. And again, just to reestablish your boxwoods, this is kind of an easy way to recover them after winter burn.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.